power with our leadership, with our teachers, because we are treated so bad. I mean, if I have an attitude, and I think that before we keep, because we can give 1,000 scenarios, but at the end of the day, we are customers. We are customers. And there are several times where I have almost been like, let me go in and talk for you. Let me go in and represent so that you won't get arrested. You know, so I think that I would like, if you guys can help me, I would really like for us to help our community partners, our leaders, understand that we want to be partners. And we don't want to have to go to the media. We don't want to have to do that. But as soon as you tell me what I cannot do, then not only am I going to boycott, because I'm really, really tired of us as parents going into our learning communities being pushed away. Because we may, you know, our hair might be green, or we might talk with our hands, or whatever you feel. It's not about you. It is about me coming in, and maybe I do, you know, talk differently. Maybe I do walk differently. Maybe I do smell differently. Maybe I have an accent. I don't care what it is. I am a parent. I am a customer. And until we start respecting and honoring our parents as partners, we are gonna keep doing this.
And can I think when I'm just listening to the big and looking at the big picture, that's what we have to do. And what you're hearing is a part of what we call the information continuing to change. So there's two sides of what you said. There's the side that wants to keep parents confused, and that's always the downtown people who's got the money in the other person. And then there's the side who wants to give parents the right information, and they don't and often get a chance to get together like this. But what you talk about, being collected in one voice and being able to bring all the community agencies who are not looking at being supported, their funds are not supported by the school district, or their funds are not supported by some agency that supports the school district, where they can have their independent voice and be that lightning rod. And these folks have already designed. I've been in the district 27 years at different levels, teaching, administration, everything else. And so I've seen it, and parent. So I've seen all the sides of it and how they play these games. So all of these things that you're talking about, the parent not coming in, we know they're supposed to be able to, but we need to do like what they did with the code of conduct. We need to make sure that we get our collective voice in the plan before them and say, this is what we agreed, just like you guys had the community to come together and put all this money into it to get this code of conduct, like we really needed a new code of conduct. We need that money should have been put forth. How are we going to organize parents so they can be independent and have this? So if you need a process for getting to the principal, we want to make sure that everyone's on the same page and everything is consistent. Because right now, every building is doing their own thing. Yep. Your building might say, I don't want to have any interaction with that parent because I'm afraid to deal with them. You know, it's a reality. And then your building may have a process where the principal may have an open door process. Right. So everyone's got their own, no one's minding the shit. Listen, everyone's doing their own thing. Administrator downtown last year, we got called with a carpet because guess what? She did not evaluate one principal. And then when they called, you didn't do one principal evaluation? And you were the assistant superintendent? Well, what happened? Oh, I forgot. What you mean you forgot? And here's the response from the school board, who all support each other.
Yeah.
We're all human. That's okay. She forgot we're all human. So they don't even hold each other accountable.
Yeah, and that's why the parents have to step up and hold everybody accountable, right? So this group here, like this group, please, is there a way, Dr. Graham, to get on the email chain? With this
Oh yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
And begin to, because this group here, you'll come up with a name, and you come up with a name, Power of the Public can support you, because nationally we have members and numbers, and NICEAG will also, as you know that. But this group here, what is your mission? What are your goals as a group? And then once you get clear, via the email conversations, you'll get clear on that, mission and goals, and then once you're clear on that, then you set up a meeting with the powers that be. And that meeting doesn't have to be all 10 of you or 12 of you. That meeting could be 5 that you all agree will go to this meeting, right? With the superintendent, with the board, whatever. This is our mission, these are our goals, and then after the goals, you can provide your rationale. What you're describing to me right now is a district that doesn't function. Yeah. That is problematic, right?
So 95.
That is, and I don't, That's just my professional opinion on my experiences. It's a district doesn't function, and the parents have to come together to demand that it functions. And this group here, and that's why I said it sounds like collaboration, working together, not just with this group initially, but then, we want to, so part of the mission is to work with whomever to do whatever. And then if they're not ready to work with you, then that's when you move them out. But this is also a process. This is not just, we're not just doing it right now for the springtime or for this year. This is our life's work, especially while kids are in school. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Yeah, so I have a question for you. So we have a lot of different committees and parent groups, and a lot of the end goals are the same for a lot of different groups, just like how we have so many different initiatives. So my question to you is, and I respect creating this as another committee or another group and moving forward, but
Do we
it
need
will
it?
be another group.
Yeah,
Like it will be another
Like,
group.
do we need
And
another
so,
group?
so
Well,
right,
I
and
don't-
so there is.
Let's, before you go there, and with your comments, consider this.
We're not necessarily saying create another group, but we're saying create a movement and involve groups that are interested in being involved. We don't have to have a new name or a new, we got over 6,000 agencies in groups and stuff like this. I feel what you're saying. Not create another group, but how can we create another approach to getting, working with the
An
groups?
approach to
Right.
have the groups move collectively
Move collectively
toward
together.
a
Right.
mission and common goals.
Yeah.
That's the way
And I
I'm
wanna-
thinking of
yeah,
it, because,
that's-
again, you have all these groups, and we all agree that the district doesn't function.
Oh, no, it
Respect
functions,
the
it just
groups.
doesn't function for parents and community.
Well, so to me, in my mind, it doesn't function.
They're doing what they want to do.
So my question,
I'm sorry.
Go ahead, you have to come back, she had
Come back.
to please.
so my question is,
Yes.
with that, so many people say collaboration, so many people want different groups, and in your experience and what you have accomplished already so far, we can't have a movement without numbers. And so if everybody is still coming to these tables and saying the same exact thing, and we can't get, look how many people are in attendance today. We can't get people behind us collectively. In your experience, or your opinion, do you have suggestions, where do the numbers come from? You know what I'm saying? Like, we have a whole group that we don't tap into, and we can say, we have very, adamant parents that are persistent and that are also articulate, and they still can't make a move without numbers. If you don't, just like you gave the example earlier, how the numbers grew with the opt-out.
Yeah.
If we don't have numbers, it doesn't matter how many organizations we get behind us. We need people behind us. We
Yeah.
don't need organizations behind. Where do the people come from, and in your experience, what have you seen that has worked?
Well, yeah, persistence, literally, so the numbers don't come overnight.
Right.
So it's literally like one step at a time.
Right.
So if you can contact 5 people after this meeting and have a conversation like this that you never talked to about this before, that's kind of how it works. So that, and it's persistent and it's consistent and it's day to day, and the numbers will come. And that's been my experience, literally relentless persistence and numbers come. Now, so last year in New York City, a couple of years ago in New York City, opt-out, just using it as an example, was at like 1%. Last year it was at 4%. Now you would say, oh, 3% growth is not much, but it's a lot. Because in New York City, we got 1.1 million kids, right? So 3 percentage points growth is huge. And why did that happen? Because in New York City in particular, me and others like started to go out and speak all the time about this issue. So be patient, be persistent, and be relentless, and the numbers will come. But even in addition to that, like, so let's say everybody here started leafletting in areas of Rochester about opt-out, refuse the test, refuse the test, refuse the test, refuse the test. That will reverberate up to the school board, and they'll be like, what the hell's going on around here, right? And now they're paying attention, and now they're more on their toes, and now they gotta respond to your action. And guess what? If the opt-out numbers did increase, you would really shake them up in Rochester, right? Just as one strategy. But to answer your question, it's not fast. It doesn't happen quickly. And I would wonder, and I don't know if you've tried to do, probably have, but have all of these organizations, or some of them, or a few of them, have you ever organized an event together? Like, I don't know what the togetherness looks like with them.
No, what I was gonna suggest to you guys is in the Southwest, there's a lot of neighborhood groups and organizations. There's there's so many that they ended up creating a Southwest Council. So once a month, even though all the neighborhood associations are meeting and they all have their own kind of neighborhood agenda and targets and projects that they're working on, once a month they come together and they talk about, they represent each of the neighborhood associations at the council and talk about projects that they're doing and, you know, what area, each area is gonna focus on. I would suggest that this becomes something like that versus another group or another committee, because in my mind, I'm thinking, you know, I'll tell you what I'm thinking. I'm thinking I'm already burnt out and stressed to the absolute max on everything that I have going on. You know, I'm actually gonna be running for school board.
Nice.
And for me in Rochester, you know, and Eileen knows the story, what I did was I took a part of the Democratic Party, because who's electing these people and how are they endorsing them and what interests are they telling candidates and what are the, you know, what's the process? I didn't understand the process. I learned the process and I brought 200 people with me and we took over a whole district and a half, and now I'm in a position of I can have a real voice, but I didn't understand that process. All I knew is that every year candidates show up. A few months later, there's announcements that this is the Democratic choice, and then there's an election, and then Democrats vote. Half the time, I don't know what these candidates are about, where they come from, what's their background. And after this, especially after Trump, I'm like, what's going on with the Democratic Party? We're a Democratic city, we're very heavy. And so, we did that, and it was not easy. It was a lot of hard work, and I always tell people there are no shortcuts to hard work. People always want to find out these shortcuts to hard work and outcomes, and there is none. We want to engage parents, we have to hit the streets.
Yeah.
I do not believe that if we build it, they're gonna come. No, we have to go to parents, meet them where they're at, knock on their door.
Door to door, yes.
Right, well, I'm a big fan of, it's called guerrilla marketing. Where you hit the streets, you hit the pavement, you meet the folks where they're at, you engage them, you don't judge them, you don't make them feel, I do this for a living too though. I do outreach for the hospital. I go out, I find out, hey, what's going on? Hey, you have all these conditions and you haven't been to the primary care in 2 years. How can I help you, get back to primary? What do you feel are your barriers? What are your issues? I can help support you through that. I don't go in there and say, oh, you have diabetes and you're gonna kill yourself because, no, I don't care. They can eat, if they're eating sugar, I'm not gonna say, hey, you shouldn't be eating that. I'm gonna let them eat their food and we're gonna talk about, why are you eating this and, you know what I mean?
Yes.
But I do want parents, and my mission is to educate other people about committee members and their voice inside the Democratic Party, so that it's real people that live in the community, parents whose kids are going into the district, deciding who becomes those elected officials. And you know what? In 4 years, they don't do anything, we're not voting for you again. That's it. We're gonna find new candidates and we're gonna find our own folks. So yes.
Before we, because I think we need to probably make sure.
I'm sorry, please jump in.
Two things is, there's a lot of waste in money in the school district. When I retired, I went down to central office and told them about it. There are books in the book depository on Hudson Ave that they're expensive. They were brand new books, not even used. The principal of School 33 makes $250,000 a year now. I can tell you, big waste. We spend over $20,000 per student. New York State spends the highest in the country in the schools. So look what our achievement is for what we spend per child and stuff. The other thing, there's one more quick thing. When she mentioned the Democratic Party, I grew up as a Democrat because the family was, but there was a movie called The History of the Democratic Party, and only the Culver Ridge played it. They wanted to keep slavery. The Republicans didn't want slaves. The Democratic Party did. Bill Clinton has a black son. He has a son that's black, and the son was on, and he said, I would like to be acknowledged. He hides him.
Okay,
There's a lot.
hold on a minute. But I understand where you guys are going, but the purpose of this meeting is not to discuss politics.
Okay, but she brought up the Democratic Party.
She
That's
brought
why I
up the
did.
Democratic Party.
Yeah.
But I was gonna address that. And we understand and exactly what we're saying in terms of politics and campaign, but that's not what we're here for.
Okay,
What we're-
forget it.
I got you on that. That's great information. But what I wanted to do, and what we want to do is acknowledge everything that everyone has shared in the room to the point of how it helps us to accomplish one purpose. And the purpose is, how do we get our parents back on board? And so, you know, some of the things you mentioned regarding, those are the kind of questions we need to have.